Says
Okay.
it's live.
It says we're live. So, hello everybody. Welcome to another Train Tuesday with Athearn. Wait for a couple more people to jump in here. They're slowly starting to jump on. There we go.
We're getting a few more.
Yeah. So how's everyone doing today on this Tuesday afternoon?
Maybe listening to Moody Blues Tuesday afternoon, or is that just me?
That one might just be you today.
All right.
So we sort of wanted to start off and sort of inform everybody of a couple of changes that have been going on here at Athearn recently. We noticed towards the end of our last stream last week that some of the questions coming in were asking where Chris is at, because some of you might have noticed that Chris has not been on the last couple of videos with us. And so we figured that with the questions mounting and time progressing, it was time to address this. And Chris has decided to move on with his career within the industry and has decided to leave Athearn by his own choosing. It was a mutual parting of ways. There was no animosity on either side. We hate to see him go, obviously. I mean, he was a good guy. He did some good things for us, and we know, well, I know that he was good friends with you, Janek.
Yeah, Chris and I were friends long before either of us worked here. So it was cool to get to work with him on the same job, sort of, and hopefully his next part of life works out well for him. So he's making some changes.
Yep. So he's still in the industry. We wish him nothing but success on his future endeavors. And we probably will even invite him back here on the show from time to time as a friend of Athearn. He still knows the product very well. He's still a talented modeler and a friend of Athearn. And I mean, we hope to maintain an open dialogue with him. So having said that, we have been actively interviewing candidates for his replacement. So we are fully committed to replacing his brand manager position. So Janek and I have sort of stepped in here and there whenever we have been requested to do so. And that's why it has only been our, I was going to say beautiful, but that's not the right word. It's just been our faces that you have seen here. And then we had George 2 weeks ago, or last week.
Yeah.
So we've just been doing everything that we can and trying to keep up and go from there. So like I say, we wish him nothing but success, and we hope to see him in the future at shows and things like that. So
yeah, I'm sure we will.
Yeah. So having gotten past that, let's move on to trains. So what would you like to discuss first? We still have a couple of things that we haven't talked about in the packet for this month that we feel are still pretty important.
Yeah.
So you want to get started with that, Janek? You want to start with cabooses, I hear. All right.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this packet. Definitely.
Right. Yeah, this was a really solid packet, and I mean, some of the product that was in here, I was very happy to see. So
yeah.
ICC cabooses. So we're going to, in this month, we have more of the international car, and then this style was preceded or subsequently built by FGE. So we have more C26, C26A, and C27 class cabooses in the announcement, starting with some CSX here, Janek. So what do we have about the CSX cabs?
This is actually the first time we've offered the CSX scheme and the first time we've offered C27s. I picked 3 road numbers here. CSX tended to assign these cabooses to a specific area. I picked 3 numbers that were kind of spread out all over the eastern US in different areas. I forget exactly what they were. Someone can send me a message later if they want to know, and I can dig that up. But basically, these are the Operation Lifesaver / Operation Red Block cabooses. There's a different safety slogan on each side. So here you see one side with Operation Lifesaver, and then on the other side, the side with 3 windows, which we're not showing, but it says Operation Red Block on the other side.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was a separate caboose or if that was actually on the same car, so that's good to know.
Yeah, well, and the CSX guys will laugh at me. I spent more time than I'd like to admit thinking that there were 2 separate schemes. Until I realized, wait a minute, it's the same. It's the same car with a different scheme on each side, and they're all like that. So
yeah.
And then the 903 983, the last car there, that's actually a unique one-off paint scheme. It's painted up in a scheme similar to the Yellow-Nose 2 hockey stick scheme with a yellow, blue, gray separation on it. And
Right.
it's named the Spirit of Grafton.
Do we have a photo of that one handy, Janek, that we could share?
Give me a second here.
Because I've only seen the one photo of it, so that'd be a nice caboose to show. Yeah, here's a little bit of information on it on the PDF. Spirit of Grafton paint scheme.
And actually, if you Google Spirit of Grafton, you'll get the locomotive. There was also a Spirit of Grafton locomotive, the number 500. So that's a little confusing as well. But there was also a caboose. So let me go on archives here and see if any of these are worth a dang. Yeah, this one's not bad. I'll go ahead and share screen real quick so you guys can see this one.
All right. Yeah, so the one we're getting ready to show you is this number 903 983 bay window caboose.
Yeah.
It is that guy.
So there it is.
You know that
was, go ahead.
That YN2 paint scheme actually didn't translate half bad on the caboose. You wouldn't have thought so, but
no, it looks pretty good, and I like how they painted the doors blue.
Yeah.
And they did some contrasting on the end cages with the gray there. And this one's different than the other 2 in the details as well. You'll notice it still has the window screens on the windows, whereas the others don't. And this one also has both kinds of marker lights. So it has the single markers on the end cages as well as the small square marker lights on the corners.
Oh, look at that. Okay. And does that still have the reflectors on the end cage next to the brake wheel? Or is it just...
I think that's just some red paint there.
Okay. All right. Like red reflective tape or something. Okay. Nice.
So
I like it.
There's that one, yeah.
So, all right. So that's CSX. Anything else about those guys?
I did want to mention that we've gotten some feedback from the modeling community about some of the CSX fonts on our artwork. And the artists are kind of busy right now working on the upcoming group of announcements, but we'll make sure to address those issues before we send these off to the factory and they get started on them. So did want to mention that.
And I do want to also add that whenever we make announcements, the monthly announcements, we can take and receive input on the artwork up to, during and up to the end of the announcement period. So we can take your feedback and make alterations and adjustments to the artwork to get them as accurate as the modeling community requests. Well, not requests, but if you all see something that we missed, because, you know, keep in mind, we're doing road names for anybody and everybody in all four corners of the country, and even some international stuff now like FMG. So we're not going to see and catch everything, but we do try our best. But if you see something, please send us a note. We will do our best to take the comments, the constructive comments, into consideration and verify with our research materials. And if it's a differing comment or something based on what era or specific details we are utilizing, we will reach out and contact you. We want to truly get these things as close to real as it gets. That's what we strive for. But again, mistakes get through. We are human, and we do create a lot of product each month. So please feel free to contact us. So,
okay.
So that's CSX. What do we got below CSX? We've got more B&O.
We got more B&O. The B&O sold out extremely quickly on the first run, and we got quite a few disappointed dealers contacting us and saying that they couldn't get them. So we're doing 3 more road numbers of the B&O. As far as I know, they're the same as the first group with the same details, same class, but 3 new road numbers for B&O.
Okay, so it looks like we're doing 1 in the early, the first batch of the C26s, and then we're doing 2 in the second batch of C26s. So those should be 2 different bodies, as long as what we did was correct.
Yeah, do they have different roofs, or what was the difference there?
So the biggest difference between the first delivery and the second delivery was the panel at the smoke jack. So the early delivery was a smooth roof panel at the smoke jack, and then the late delivery had the diamond stamping within the roof, the smoke jack panel. So
yeah, okay.
But other than that, well, and then again, you get into some art differences, like the logo was different between the first and the second deliveries of the C26s, and I think the truss stencil was different as well. So
okay, so some differences there.
Yeah, some minor art differences. So
okay.
Chessy, B&O. What else do we have here, Janek?
So I didn't personally work on these, although I know that Dave was the researcher and he was asking me a lot of questions about these. As I understand it, they are the C26As. And so that would be a new version for the Chessy paint that we have not offered before. And again, with these, I will mention that we got some feedback post-announcement of the artwork that we're looking into right now. So,
okay, and I do want to say that I worked very closely with some Chessy modelers on the first announcement, and the colors were updated on the first announcement, Chessy system cabooses, and those colors will be updated and carry through on this announcement, and a lot of the art revisions should carry through on this second announcement. But again, I did work very closely with the Chessy system modelers and on the first announcement, so hopefully there won't be any delivery issues on those, and then we can get some of those updates implemented on this second production run. So
yeah. And then as you can see, we're offering the, oh, I can't read that number, 3771, I believe it is.
yes.
And that's another one of the safety scheme cabooses. This one was, depending on who you ask, it was gold, or it was tan, or it was light brown. It was a beigeish color. So that's the first time we're offering that one as well. So that's a new paint scheme. Eventually, we'll offer all the safety schemes that are correct for these bodies, I believe. So.
Okay. Now, is the safety slogan the same on both sides?
Don't ask me that. I don't know.
All right.
Like I said, I didn't research those. I was the CSX guy, so.
Okay.
If anyone wants to know, I can put up pictures of the other side. So.
All right. Great.
And then, as with the first run, you know, these are offered two versions. The first version has a DCC lighting control decoder for the control of the lights. They have lights on the end cages and the interior, right, Matt?
Yes. So if the Caboose is equipped with a light on the end cage, which it doesn't look like we did this time.
Yeah, I don't think any of these have it, actually.
Yeah. If there were a light on the top of the end cage, it would be illuminated. And then these also have interior lights. So.
Okay. And then also we offer the sound version. And I get a lot of questions. Why do I need a caboose with sound? Well, the part I like about it is the conductor's backup whistle for when you're doing a shove. Going over a grade crossing, the conductor would be standing there on the platform with the whistle attached to the train line, and he'd be blowing it for the crossing. So that'd be a really cool switching operation that you could recreate with the sound version of these. So.
Right. All right. So those are our cabooses.
Okay.
In the June packet, I guess is what we're going to call this. So what's next, Janek?
Do you want to look at those hoppers real quick?
Yeah, let's go over the ACF 4600s.
Okay.
So, this is the third announcement of ACF 4600 covered hopper, HO and N scale. And these look to be all late body productions, aren't they?
Yeah, I believe for this run we went with all late body cars. And for the BN, for example, we have done BN before, but not in the late body. So this is a new version of the BN. And if you're a BN guy, you need tons of these things. So.
Right, because I was actually talking with Jack about a project yesterday, and it was a different style of grain hopper, but it just seems like BN had tons of grain hoppers, and I guess their lines in the Midwest and then northern Midwest and everything like that, you know, they were serving all these grain elevators, so why not have the fleet, you know?
Yeah, and you still see them out there, so they're beat up, but you still see them.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, especially when grain season starts here in Champaign. All the grain trains that go through on the CN or the IC for you diehards. Sometimes I'm looking through for cars, you know, for photographic opportunities, and every once in a while, oh look, there is an actual 4600. It's not a 4650.
It's hard to tell them apart unless they're right next to each other. Yeah.
Right. So what else do we have here? We've got some rock.
Yeah, we kind of went hog wild with the rock here. We not only did the rock as delivered in '78, which that means they only lasted 2 years. actually being Rock Island. But we also did a few of the versions that occurred after the bankruptcy of that line. So we did some patch outs for SSW, Milwaukee, and the First Union Rail. So
Okay. So the lighter color, it looks like we're depicting that as, because these are all prime for grime, correct?
yeah, these are prime for grime. I think we picked a couple of different blues that were a little bit faded from the original rock blue, because it weathered pretty quickly. So
Okay.
and then yeah, they've got different kinds of patches by the reporting marks. But it's interesting on the Cotton Belt and the Milwaukee, they didn't really patch it at all, it looks like, except for the reporting mark. So that's pretty cool.
I do want to point out, because I do remember seeing and hearing questions about these. I was actually at a dealer, a hobby shop north of Los Angeles whenever these dropped. And I was with one of our coworkers. I just can't remember the name of the shop. Gosh, it escapes me. I'll find out as soon as we're done with the live feed. But one of the customers in the shop, and then of course through all of our social media comments, they were asking, are the road numbers in the 3-packs different, and are they different from the single road number selected? And the answer is yes. So if you were to get all, 5 SKU numbers, so you would get 9 cars, you would have 9 different road numbers. So
and then add on to that however many we did with the first runs, and you could make a decent sized train. So
right. So there is no duplication of road numbers within the runs. So you can feel confident getting a longer train and no duplicates. So
yeah.
So what else do we have here? Some CN&I with the buzzsaw logo.
Yes. And do we have MoPac down here too? I thought we were doing MoPac as well, because you can't talk about, oh no.
Uh-oh.
You can't really talk about CN&I without talking about MoPac. So
Right.
But yeah, those CN&I Chicago and Eastern Illinois was a subsidiary of the Missouri Pacific. And they had cars that were basically exactly the same, even down to the logo, except for what it said on the inside of the buzzsaw logo.
Right. And so was that sort of getting there towards the end, whenever they were starting to pretty much all merge and come together, and then the big yellow Uncle Pete came along, or was this earlier than those mergers than I remember?
Yeah, this would have been, these were late 70s cars. So maybe 4 or 5 years in MoPac service, I would say.
Okay. All right. So they had a little bit of time then.
Yeah, they had a little bit of time. So. And then if you zoom in, we'll get back to family lines, but if you zoom in on the MoPac a little bit there's actually an interesting car there on the 3-pack. If you notice that you're getting a regular MoPac car, a regular CN&I car, and then there's a neat little variation there with just MP initials on the logo. And that's actually a prototypical scheme for that road number that we found a photo of. So that's a neat car.
Cool. Again, more variation to the grain concepts you'd be running.
Yeah, you don't want them all to be exactly the same. So
very nice. I like it. All right. So you want to go back up to family lines here?
Yeah, family lines. So for the family lines, we offered a couple of different versions here. Of course, the SCL family line system was the first version, and then the later version would be the Seaboard system there, which is only available in the 3-pack for now, but we'll probably do more of them later.
Okay.
But this is the first time we've done those road names. And I will mention again that we got some feedback on these. One particular point of feedback was the color, which we're looking into. I'm pretty sure that these are all supposed to be tan. So we'll make sure and get that fixed for the production.
Okay. And like we mentioned earlier, you know, we still have time within the packet announcement to make these art changes. So if you have comments, please let us know. Help@athearn.com, and they will forward the emails onto the product development team. So
Yep. So yeah, I guess I'm just reading the note there. Some of these lasted into CSX without being patched or relettered. So you could, if you're modeling a CSX grain train, you could add some variety with these cars. So
yeah. Actually, I was at north end of Champaign Yard, and there was a part of a CSX grain train sticking out of the yard, and I mean they were all CSX labeled now, but still, you know, CSX ran those grain trains, and they run them pretty consistently in unit train service, and you know, same color and everything like that. So
yeah, that's great. So I think that's it for those.
Yeah, that about wraps up the 4600s. And again, that's HO and N scale. So all the road numbers in 3-packs will translate to N scale. And you know what? We're just done. So
I'm going to tell you something.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, so
I need to show off a couple of things that I've been looking at recently here.
Yeah, let's go ahead and move on to a couple of things that you might be working on.
Sure. Let me do the share screen again. So working from home, I definitely get to see some of this product before anyone else sees it. So one of the things I've been looking at lately was these 200-ton cranes. Here's the announcement page for it. So the 75414 SP maintenance away. Let me go to the photo here. Oh, that's not the right one. There it is. So this is a neat scheme. I'm sure all the SP guys out there are probably rolling around. Well, that's not SP. Well, UP used that SPMW reporting mark well after those two roads had combined, merged, been taken over, or whatever you want to call it. So you can still see SP maintenance away equipment out there. And that was our inspiration for this. And then we also have the green UP maintenance away color for the boom car there.
Okay, yeah, that UP MOW green. It's almost like a seafoam green, huh?
Yeah, they use it for like ballast cars, and I've seen it on old bathtub gondolas in scrap tie service. But it's a pretty neat color. It stands out.
Cool.
So yeah, I mean, this is not a new model. This is an old blue box era model, but when you give it a nice paint scheme, it still looks good. So I'm happy with how these things turned out. I didn't have any complaints about them at all. So I'll go on to the next one here, which people already saw a peek of. The Ontario Northern. So this is the 75416. Something a little different. And I actually I was inspired by photos for this one, and they do actually have a crane that looks like this.
Mm-hmm.
With the blue roof and the yellow boom and end, it really stands out. So
very cool. I like that Ontario Northland scheme. I mean, yeah, it's white. Who in their right mind paints railroad equipment white? But oh, I know, the Yankeetown Dock Corporation. Duh.
Oh, and Kansas City Southern.
Yeah.
So there you see the boom on these is actually pretty nicely detailed with the 2 hooks and all the cables. It actually looks pretty nice. So
right, and the cranks back there on the body, the boom and everything does operate. The hook raises and lowers with the cabling and everything, so it is a functional crane.
Yeah, and I like how they did the yard on this flat car. This looks good too. We had to do a little bit of educated guessing for what it would say because the photo was cut off. You could only see half of the flat car, but I think we made it look plausible at least. So anyway, that's kind of what I've been looking at recently.
So were those production samples then?
No, those are deco samples actually.
Okay, so those are first deco samples, and for us to review before the factory goes into full production mode on them. So good.
Yeah, my biggest problem with those was actually they taped the crank into the box so tightly that you couldn't get it out. So that was the biggest complaint.
Whenever that's the biggest complaint, that's a good day.
That's a good day. Yep.
All right. Well, let's move on to what I think everybody continues to look forward to on these, and that would be rail fanning and Q&A. And I have reached out to one of the guys at Virtual Railfan that I know, and we were granted permission to share one of their streams. So let's go to La Plata, Missouri today. La Plata is on the Southern Transcon of the BNSF, and you can usually get a safe bet of at least 1 or 2 trains within an hour. So let's give this one a shot. So we're gonna go ahead and open it up to questions, and we'll talk with you guys.
Yeah,
so
I got quite a few questions earlier. So
yeah. Nachos, anyone?
Do you want them in HS scale or N?
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of nachos. Whoop. It moved on me. Matthew Litwin, how come the Bombardier cars you guys didn't do tri-rail? You want to take that one or me?
I got it. When we do a run of hey, look at that.
There you go, right there.
Good timing. When we do a run of rolling stock locomotives, what have you, we're trying to hit a certain amount of units produced, per what the factory wants and per what we want. And
right.
Ideally, we do that with as few different road names as possible, because every time we do a different road name, it adds complexity on the factory's side. Now, of course, on the inverse side of that, we gotta do different road names because people like different road names. I mean, we can't do all Metrolink or all Go Transit. So that being said, with these bomb cars, while we picked quite a few different road names, I will admit that there's some big ones that we had to leave out. Tri-Rail was one of them. Sorry, I just Tri-Rail as in Lionel. No, this is Florida Tri-Rail. I'm guessing that they were asking about. So that was one of the ones that didn't make the cut for this time, but that means that it's very likely we'll do it next time, because we try not to do twice in a row on most road names unless we got some real compelling reason to. So,
all right, yeah,
so
and
explains it.
And like you said, we do have MOQs with our factory that we have to meet, and so whenever we keep adding more and more paint schemes, that keeps raising the MOQs to make it worth our time, the factory time, and that type of thing. And then we need to save some paint schemes for next time. So look out for a future announcement on Tri-Rail. So I do want to address Keenan here. Keenan, send an email to help@athearn.com, and he will, the guy that works at the help desk, he will forward it to me, and then we'll get a dialogue started. Okay?
Yep, definitely. As far as I know, we're just reusing old artwork on those cars. That doesn't mean that it can't be improved. If there's something that you noticed on there that you want us to look into, definitely let us know.
Right. A normal rail fan. Is there such a thing as a normal rail fan? I don't know.
I've never met one.
Yeah, me neither. If you do a second run of Genesis P42s, would you do the Amtrak Phase 1 Heritage Unit? Janek?
Sure. Why not? I think that one or the Phase 3 are probably people's favorite heritage units. So I would expect us to do those units on the next run. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about some Wheeling and Lake Erie 40-2s?
Those are painted up kind of like Rio Grande, right? With the stripes. Yeah. Why not? Those are cool.
Yeah, and I actually know a couple of guys that could get us some pretty decent photos over in Ohio, like over in Delaware and Cary and those areas. So if we want to do them, I know who we could reach out to for some good shots.
Okay, cool. We got Brady Taines asking about Maxi 1s and specifically BNSF. Yeah, I don't know when we're scheduled to do those again, but I can think of at least 2 BNSF schemes off the top of my head that we could offer, and those things are still out there. I mean, I see them all the time. So.
What else we got here? Canadian National SD40-2s. Are you talking standard cab or wide cab? Because I may or may not have caught a wide cab 40-2 on Sunday on the, oh gosh, would that be the Chicago sub north of Champaign? I think it's the Chicago sub. I could be wrong. Somebody will correct me.
Was it running?
It was what the CN uses as their local, and had a Death Star SD70 on the point with 40-2W second unit out, and they were pulling hard. It was an awesome sight and sound to behold.
Nice.
So let's see. All right, so we've got a couple of questions about the MKT GP39-2 beacons. Do we know sort of what the situation is on that, Janek? This is a Q&A session, so we're going to try to answer the good and the bad.
Sure. No, I actually just heard about that one when I got into work today, and I have not had a chance to look into it. But I was planning on looking into it sometime this week and figure out what happened. Okay.
Because I know whenever I reviewed the very first production run that we did of those, that was something that I noticed was some of the photos show white or they show yellow, but I do know that the white is correct for as delivered because I've spoken with our friend Devin Jackson there. And I think that the art on the first run actually showed yellow, so I had to get that corrected. So hopefully that was just something that was overlooked, or if it was something that was missed at the factory level, well, then we need to get with the factory and get it corrected. So
yeah,
Devin, you and I have been in contact. Whenever we get something figured out, I will definitely let you know. and we will find out what we need to do to correct going forward. Let's see.
All right.
Greg Dixon, how in the world are you doing, Greg? What are the chances of ever doing SDP 40 for GN and BN? There's always a chance. I'm not going to say how strong the chance is for these, but there are a couple of unique projects that we're looking on down the road that aren't so widely, what's the word I'm looking for? They aren't so widely used on the prototype railroad. You know, some, let's say, boutique locomotives, and this is one of the ones that are on our list. But I'm not going to say that we are for sure going to do it. I'm not going to say that we're not going to do it. Whenever we get some of these bigger projects done and out of the way, then we'll see what happens. Where did it go?
I personally would want to, oh, the BN bicentennial. I don't remember if it was the 1776 or the 1976, but they had a bicentennial SDP 40. So
right. Ooh, wait, that wasn't the one. That one. Daniel Archer, SD 40As, Genesis 2.0. Maybe that's on our short boutique locomotive list too. You never know. So let's talk about Apalachicola Northern Jeep 15s. I've been seeing a lot of comments with our GP15 announcement. A lot of guys ask for the Apalachicola Northern versions, and I've seen blue, I've seen yellow, and I've seen the G&W repaints. So we didn't do any Apalachicola Northerns on this production announcement, correct?
no, we didn't. I mean, it's not that we have anything against those guys. We picked a lot of good road names, and we didn't need any more. So that being said, I don't think, have we ever offered the blue?
No.
Okay.
So we, if the way that I remember the story is, before you and I were ever employed here with Athearn, we made an announcement for the yellow Apalachicola Northern units, and there was either a delay, there was either order quantity questions or something, and it got paused, and then we announced them again, and we ended up meeting whatever criteria was not met the first time, and we made the production and delivered the production of the yellow GP15Ts. Since then, we have not done any other Apalachicola Northerns. So.
Yeah. And from what I hear, they're pretty much unobtainium these days if you're trying to find one. So
right.
that could be a reason to consider it next time.
Right. So we probably won't do the yellow ones. It'll probably be one of the paint schemes we haven't done, you know, like the blue one or the orange and black ones. So
yeah.
Aaron Michael Hein. I'm sorry. Have you guys looked into SD7s and SD9s? That would be a definite yes. We have looked into them, and we have looked into others that would fit the same chassis.
Yeah, quite a big family that would fit that chassis if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's favorite, the SD18, right?
Yeah. Oh, good. We would get to converse with our Chessy constituents again.
Oh, that's true. We'd have to tool up an Alco truck for it, right, Daniel?
Aaron, it's high knee. Got it. Thanks,
okay,
bro.
Got it.
Mack trucks. Those are still in a licensing debacle. And when I say debacle, I mean that we don't have a license, and we have not really inquired about a license because the last correspondence we had was the license was so high. The license would basically make the MSRP of one rig $60. Not saying it's not going to happen. I'm just saying if we do get it, expect sticker shock, or it'll be a long time yet. So we'll just have to see.
I think the ones on eBay are going for about that much right now.
Probably.
But I don't think we could offer them to dealers at $60 and get away with it. So
Right. I agree. And again, I mean, that's one of those things that we try to take, well, not try, we do take our pricing, you know, very close to heart. I mean, like we've mentioned in the past, Janek and I especially are modelers, and then we have other modelers on the team. And whenever we're working on pricing and such, and they let us know what the MSRP is going to be, we'll either say, yeah, we think that's good, or no, absolutely not. You can't do that. So sometimes that honestly is why a project gets canceled from announcement, is because we don't agree with the pricing, and we know that our customers don't agree with the pricing. So we do our best, but at the same time, we still have to make product. So.
Yeah. And, you know, the workers and the shippers and the dealers all have to be paid.
Right. And see, that's just it. Our pricing does take into account our dealer network, because it is structured such so that our dealers can make a profit and keep their doors open. Talk to your local hobby shop. Talk to your dealers that you're friends with. They can't keep their doors open on bottles of paint and glue and paintbrushes. So that's why our pricing is built in dealer margin, so that they can do and operate their business. So.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. What else we got here?
We got Ken Reedon. I hope I'm saying that correctly. He's asking for a Tacoma Rail SD70. Is that an SD70 Ace, or is that something else? I think it's an Ace.
I get them confused. The Taco Rail has one, and then there's another short line that has the other variation, and it's an M-2. I forget who has which one.
Okay. But that's a nice paint scheme.
Yeah.
I would like to see us do that, even if it was only 1 or 2 numbers. So.
Chicago and Illinois Midland SD18s as well. Those would be sweet, because that is a good looking paint scheme on those.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Let's see. Andrew, AC 4400 DCC and sound. Good suggestion. I'm just going to stick to, hey, look, another train.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick to my stock answer of the last couple of videos. We have a lot of GE product coming, so just keep your eyes on the announcements for GE locomotives. Spokane International XUP cabooses. What prototype model of XUP cabooses are they, Joel? Let us know.
I think they were ones we can do.
CA 8, 9, or 10, maybe?
I think so, but yeah, we got to look into that.
Okay. Athearn t-shirts. You mean like this one, maybe? Definitely a consideration. I know there's a couple of things that we were trying to work on, and then, as we mentioned earlier in the cast, Chris Palmera's separated ways with us, and that was one of the things that I think was being worked on, and now we're all trying to keep our jobs going, as well as the brand management and marketing duties. So hopefully we'll get something shown up soon, and we'll see what we can do later.
Yeah. Sean Teller, Amazon containers and 53-foot trailers. I reached out to Amazon.com licensing department many months ago. Haven't heard anything back. So I would love to do those, because we'd make a killing on them. But until I hear back from them, it's going to be tough. So.
Hey, did you see that Norfolk Southern mid-train DPU?
I did. Looked like a -9.
It was. That's about all they got. Been selling off all the cool stuff.
Yeah, I know. They got rid of the 75s pretty recently, I saw.
they pretty much gutted their entire EMD fleet except for the ACUs and the 60Es.
Mm-hmm.
And then the ACEs as well. But they sold their M-2s, they sold their 75s, they sold their 70s.
Oh,
well, they're
wow.
rebuilding their 70s into the 70 ACC. They've
Yeah.
gutted 40-2 fleet. I mean, it's unfortunate. It breaks my heart from a rail fan perspective. But again, they got a business to run, I guess. So whatever. Oh, nope, that one. CEFX Trinity 5161s.
Sure. Send us some photos. If they're just plain gray, I mean, that sounds doable. And if they're in lease service, then they could show up pretty much anywhere. So yeah, send them help@athearn.com, and they'll get to us.
And then he also requests Trinity 5461. So that's a larger cube covered hopper. So I'd imagine that's a 4-bay. Thanks for the suggestion. I will put it on the list and maybe see what we can come up with, because that would be new tooling. So Keenan, thanks for asking this. Any update on the licensing for the VIA P42s? So we have submitted the license back to VIA. We are still awaiting a response. My suggestion to you is to pre-order number 917, and if for some strange reason the license falls through and we are unable to produce VIA, then you will not be liable for anything on that one, because we just simply won't produce VIA. So right. For everybody listening, if you do want a VIA P42, place your pre-order. And like I said, if the VIA license falls through, then, no harm, no foul. Everybody's got a clean slate there. So.
Yeah. But, of course, we hope that it will go through, because we want to see them made just as much as you do. So.
Right. Yes. Because that paves the way for other paint schemes on VIA that I have been getting a lot of requests for. So. Here's our weekly reminder, I assume, Christopher. Got it. Thank you. P42 Metro North MTA current and early scheme and New Haven and HL. So the P42s we could do properly. Again, transit agencies are very particular about their licensing. It would depend if we get a license agreement with them. So if you know anybody, let us know.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't those units the dual mode units?
So the New Haven unit is the dual mode P32 ACDM, I think is what it is. So that is a different model. There are differences in the prototype, and especially since we moved the model of the P42 into our Genesis line, we will not be putting that paint scheme onto the model. Again, as I mentioned when we first announced the P42 at the beginning of the month, had we have done a total ground up new model on the P42, we would have included the P32 dual mode. It would have been silly for us not to. But since it was just a refresh of the existing P42 model, the P32 was not included. So, but again, for those other paint schemes, if you know a way to get a licensing on there, let us know. Let's see. Are you considering the SD70 ACE Tier 4? Absolutely considering it. Why wouldn't we?
Yeah, I actually saw one of those running by itself, pulling a local job over at Los Nietos the other day, which was
oh, really?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, usually it's like a pair of Jeeps or something, but here's this one Tier 4 unit pulling a local job. So,
okay. Let's see. NJ Transit run when you hopefully do a P40 Genesis. So again, licensing. I have heard that NJ Transit used to be friendly with licenses, and then there was a company on the East Coast that really messed that up. So if you know who we can talk to at NJ Transit to properly get a license and do everything right by them, let us know. I'm not sure what James is responding to Sean about, but I am going to say about the Siemens Chargers is we were working on the Siemens Chargers, as many of you know. We sort of had a teaser a little over a year ago now, and I won't go into the dirty details about it, but we were basically told to stop, and that only Bachmann would be getting the assistance to produce the model. So we were going full speed ahead with it, and then we were told to stop. So no Charger from us.
Yeah.
And we're not happy about it, but hey, got to do what the IP holder says. So there you go. Weekly UPSD 59 MX reminder. All right, thanks, Scott. Where did that go? I just lost it.
Okay, I got one when after your next one.
P42 ACDMs. I work for the MTA. If it's ever something you want to pursue, reach out to me and I can connect you with some people. Okay, if we do produce a model of the P32, Nick, we will be sure to try to reach out to you. Why don't you go ahead and send us an email at help@athearn.com, and the help desk will forward that on to myself and or Janek, and we'll save your contact information that way. How's that sound? What happened to the latest run of GP40-2s? All of the SPs had SSW stenciled on the long hood. Are you familiar with that one, Janek? Is that an issue?
That's something that we're looking into right now, and we're aware of an issue with some of them. We're trying to figure out which ones have the issue and which ones don't, because it doesn't seem to be consistent. So,
okay.
But yeah, we are aware of that concern and we're looking into it.
All right. Christian Brown, we agree with you. We don't understand what the issue is with licensing either. Some agencies, such as Amtrak and our friend Matt Donnelly, are more than willing to work with us because they do make money from the licensing. Now, in the grand scheme of things, it's a pittance compared to the millions of dollars that they work with. What is going on with Firefox today? Well, let's do this. But they do get a percentage, and each agency is different on what percentage they require. So it's just dependent upon the licensing agreement, but they do get money from it, and you'd think they'd want to work with us because we want to represent their brand properly in miniature form. And heck, we even want to work with them. And, you know, if they want some models, make the models available to them. But not all of them see it the same way.
Well, and I think a lot of them don't really know a lot about model trains or what we do. So they think that they're putting themselves at risk, or they're putting their intellectual property at risk by working with us, and that's just not true. We're there to make sure that it's used correctly and accurately. That's what we want. So
right. How about that one, Janek? 89-foot flats making a return anytime soon.
Yes. I don't know what version you're looking for, Noah, but it doesn't matter because we're doing them all in 2020. So stay tuned.
Okay. Here, you'll like this one.
Can I get a DDA40X? Yeah. Actually, someone was asking for those again as well. So.
Yep. And we've sort of mentioned in the past that we've got a little something up our sleeve on the DDs. So.
Yep.
Thanks, Keenan. We appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, man.
57s.
Yep, the long runners. Those are coming.
In a 3-pack?
It's 2 cars and
then 3 trailers. That's right.
Triple. Yeah. It's triple 53s, although I've heard it triple 57s, so I don't know.
Okay. Justin, can you guys try and do the Ontario Northlander? Is that a passenger consist? I'm showing my ignorance. That is?
Yeah, they brought it over from across the pond. I believe it was a Trans-Europe Express. Correct me if I'm wrong. All you Northlander guys out there. But it was a train set. And it ran with some weird power car for a while. Then they realized that it was junk and replaced it with an FP7. So we could potentially do that, I guess, but the cars would have to be a new tooling. And it's a European prototype, so.
Okay. I'm going to go to one that's near and dear to my heart. Gas turbines. We've got some plans for the turbines, so stay tuned. And then I thought I saw that one as well. So yeah, guys, stay tuned on the turbines. So we're at about an hour here. We'll take a couple more questions, and I think we're going to wrap it up. So, there was one that I just saw. Oh, that one there. Any thoughts on moving the SD50 and SD60 to Genesis at some point? Absolutely. But again, it just comes down to time and reworking an existing project or adding new projects to the line. Right now, my main goal is to keep adding new projects to the line. It's not to say it's not going to happen. It just may not happen in a very timely manner. So let's put it that way.
Oh, there's one for you, Matt. Omaha Jeep 20.
Where'd it go? Ooh. I can get behind that. Christian Brown, totally different request, semi-enclosed auto racks. I thought I saw Athearn ones, but the only others I knew were the bi-level Acura cars, also discontinued. So we did the Southern bi-level auto rack, which was partially enclosed, and that was on the F89F, correct?
Yep, and it is only correct for Southern with
Right.
those side panels. So.
Right, because per road name, they changed the side paneling and the corrugation and the patterns and everything in the sheet metal stamping. So right now, we only have the tooling to do Southern. I'm sure that we will do more. And we have considered other road names that would fit on the same F89F with different paneling. Again, it's just it hasn't been much more done with it. So, but thank you for the suggestion. We'll see what happens. Customers at my shop would like to see more Roundhouse and RTR with less emphasis on the Genesis line. We will be seeing more additions to the lower price line that competes with Walser's mainline series. Thanks for the suggestion, Jim. Like we sort of mentioned earlier, we are trying to stay price conscious, but we're also trying to pay attention to where the bulk of our sales are. And not saying that we're not going to keep doing roundhouse and RTR, but the status quo of modeling is more and more prototype specific details. So that's all I have to say about that.
Well, and I'll add that our RTR stuff, in my opinion, is pretty nice. It's definitely got more detail than your average Walters mainline for not a whole lot more money. So we are going to be doing more of that level stuff as well. I know we've got some planned for 2020. And people seem to like sort of that middle detail level with the sound option. So
right. And we'll take one more here. Let's see, Jay Kamath. SD70 ACE updates, please. So some of the tooling updates are just starting to wrap up. I should be seeing some test shots before too long. And then we'll start working on the project announcement and unveiling some of the upgrades later this year. So everything's moving right along on them.
Cool.
So
gotta pick road names for those. So.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, that's about it for us. We still have a lot more work to do, even though it's 4:30 here in Central Time. I still got a lot more things I have to do. So we're going to get back at it. It's been great chatting with everybody and filling everybody in on the rest of the packet. And we'll see y'all next week. So thanks for joining. Take care and stay safe out there.
Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. We'll see you next week.
All right. Take care.